Yeah, Liberation's been looking at it.
Not more like abjurations. Standard kind of, you don't no teleporting in or out kind of stuff.
And also, what's her name was here?
Oh yeah, Edwina.
Edwina was here. And...
Pretty
Zook
sure
remembers.
Kelian can tell us Edwina was very real.
Yeah.
Oh, I was mostly wondering if there was some sort of illusion on the nature of the place.
And
No,
to be fair...
Back that up.
We were warned. Terran warned us that this place would change.
Yeah. This place would change. I mean, what does Zook... what does Zook think about our map?
He says the map is pretty close to what he recalls. And then he recounts the room that they found with the obsidian dais through the center door with a 6-pointed star, each one that accepted a keyhole. And they traversed the place, and they fought many fiends, and found, I forget if it was 2 or 3 of the keys before getting overwhelmed. And they had to escape. You guys didn't find keyholes. You found basins on a 5-pointed star.
Did Zook say he still had his key?
I forget if he has his key or not. I suppose he can.
I don't remember if he said that.
I thought he said that those disintegrated after they left.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Pretty sure they did, yeah.
They may well have.
They did. Because I asked it because I wanted to know if he still had the keys.
Be right back.
In any event, those keys wouldn't have worked on what you've seen anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going into Matsu Henshin's room?
In a second we will.
Okay.
Do you want me to get the door this time, Riot? So you can focus on sweet talking?
So before we go through, I want to lay down a couple of ground rules for y'all. Nobody tell a lie. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to tell. And please leave the talking to me. Unless a fight breaks out. I mean, a fight might break out in seconds. I have no idea. But if we're going to be able to persuade him, I'm the only one who can lie to him.
Okay. I'll cast Bigby's hand, and that hand is a strength score of 26, so that's a +8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Riot does a little whistle to herself.
So let's get a Thieves' Tools check, and then a Strength check.
Okay.
I'll do the strength check this time.
Yeah, you can do the strength check this time.
Isn't Bigby hand doing it?
Yeah. No, I've got a 20 on the Bigby hand.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
How'd Thieves' Tools go?
Am I rolling Thieves' Tools? I'll roll Thieves' Tools, sure.
Do it.
Roll that thieves' tools.
That is a 24.
Okay, and just like before, you see the eyes on the cherubs in the door vanish as Kelian works the door, the lock. Pops the mechanism. Nath shoves the door aside with his Bigby's big ol' hand.
Alright, Riot's going to go through.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through as well.
We'll let this door go shut immediately.
The room on the other side is a handsome chamber adorned with colorful tapestries, depicting various gods and goddesses that Liberation is partially familiar with, because one of them he recognizes as Amaterasu. In the center of the room, with his back away from you, you see the Hound Archon. I'll just go ahead and put him on the map, because you never know when a fight's going to break out.
You never know.
You know,
I don't think that.
as Riot says.
I mean, we're like this with Bahamut, and he's a pretty good god.
The room itself is it's a very open space. There's no pillars. There's no furniture like you saw in Edwina's room. Just the tapestries along the walls. The Hound Archon, about 8 feet tall, and he's kneeling in the center of the room with his back towards you. He's wearing ornate armor of leather and lacquered scales. And in front of him on the ground are 2 long, curved blades, unsheathed and set before him. And when you come in, the thing's back kind of squares. You see him inhale deeply. And then he says, I will hear your words, but be quick.
You're Matsu Henshin?
And he nods once.
I've come to tell you that the Show family no longer needs Destil's help.
And he reaches forward, and without picking it up, he places his hand and grips the hilt of his sword. And he says, I have heard many lies about the Show family.
I promise what I'm telling you is true.
He asks what you think this news will buy you.
It's not what it buys me, because I'm going to get what I want one way or the other. I want you to know that you are not bound to Destinlock either.
So what's Riot's goal here? To change his mind on whether or not he's bound? You're trying to persuade him?
Yeah, I'm trying to, because I think that's what Daniel told me. He
Yeah.
said he's taking interest in the Show family. If I can make Matsu Henshin remember the light of Mount Celestia above the Prime family, other than the Prime family, yeah, he might let go of that and return to the mountain. Yeah, so I'm telling him, the Show family needs you. You're not bound to Lock, and that where you would be the most use right now is back at your home in the mountain.
And hey, if he wants to remember Mount Celestia, it can't be too bad to have a gold dragon in here.
Is anybody keeping this door open?
No.
Letting it close behind you?
Yeah.
Gripping his blade tightly now. He still has not turned to face you. He asks. Rather, he challenges you to correctly name the patriarch of the Show family. And silence hangs in the air for a moment.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Mahogany just says, I don't think we know that. Daniel didn't tell us. And then I turn to the guy and I say, Daniel's the one we talked about Mount Celestia. I won't lie to you, I'm terrible at lying.
It's true, he is. Daniel is a keeper of the Order of the Plains Militant, and he was the one who found out this information for us.
He says that he's not beholden to the Plains Militant or any man named Daniel. And that if you actually had news of the Show family, you would be able to correctly identify the name of the man that leads them. And at that, he begins to stand up.
1 second, Riot cast sending.
Sending to who?
To Daniel.
To Daniel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Quick, what's the name of the patriarch?
Or what do you ask Daniel?
Daniel, if you don't tell us the name of the patriarch of the Show family in about 5 seconds, die.
Wait, you cut out. Who's gonna die? You or Matsu Henshin?
Oh, we might all die,
You guys probably take a Hound Archon.
probably. But that's what I sent to Daniel.
Okay. Make me... Do you have any kind of plan or knowledge with Beator?
With Beator, I spent about a couple weeks here trying to claw my way back from when I got dumped here for some reason.
That's true. Make an Arcana check.
Okay. That's a 9.
Want to put some Bard Sync on that?
A 9?
I'm gonna put some Bard Snake on that. It's now an 15.
A 15?
Mm-hmm.
Daniel's response is that the current patriarch of the family is a man named Lou. Here's what your Arcana bought you.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel's not standing here. You're not looking at him. You're not conversing with him in person. And Beator has ways of twisting communications and other forms of... divination is especially bad on this plane. You're not attempting a divination spell. You're attempting to communicate across planes. Mm-hmm. But you're very deep in Beator, and he's very high on Mount Celestia. And cosmologically speaking, that's about as far away as you can possibly get to somebody on the Great Wheel. So even though the spell worked, and even though you're pretty sure you got in contact with the real Daniel, the information might not be good.
The only information I got, though. So I'll tell him his name is Lou.
And Mahogany's like, wait a minute.
Not that Lou. Lou Show.
The Archon turns around and faces you all, and you just see the same... I mean, you've met these kinds of types before on Mount Celestia. Just the way he carries himself with just a righteousness to him, but also a great amount of sadness in his face. And he says, I can see you're a good person. And his eyes scan over the lot of you. And they land on Mahogany, who is still a dragon. We're still doing this?
Gold dragon, yeah.
And he levels his sword towards Mahogany. And he says, except you.
Well, I'm neutral at worst.
He says, and how dare you wear the flesh of such majesty? You mock the light that my kind serves, and you do it in my presence. She turns back to Riot. Said, you would ask my aid and bring an insult into my quarters.
Hey, you've been stuck here for
Shut
200
up,
years
Mahogany.
working
Drop
for
the
this
spell.
guy.
Drop the spell, Mahogany.
Oh, shut up, Riot. I said, you've been stuck here working for 200 years, not able to do anything to help the light. We've been doing more to help Bahamut than
Spell
you
magic
have.
on Mahogany.
Cast what?
Spell magic on Mahogany.
What level slot do you use?
Oh boy.
Third, but I'm pretty good at this stuff.
Okay.
Not that good.
It says spellcasting ability check.
Mm-hmm. Which I can add my proficiency bonus to. So this is what level spell is that? 8 or something?
Oh, that would be a 9th level spell.
It's
a 9th level spell?
DC is 19. On a successful check, the spell ends.
Okay.
Oh, looks like you didn't make it. That's a shame.
Hey, I got stuff I can do here. So this is
Maybe I'll be able to finish my sentence though.
12.
And I'll say what I said before, which is, we've been doing more good while you've decided to work here for Destin Lock, bringing things to Bahamut to lock away.
Oh, look at that! That's now a 22.
So you finish your sentence as a Genasi.
Yeah. Man, I remember at the beginning of this campaign when we agreed no inter-party combat.
That wasn't combat. That was just a spell.
Oh boy.
This is a thing.
So you told him that you guys have been doing more good than he has, sitting here serving Destin Lock.
Yes.
He says that the grayness in your heart and the flippancy with which you wear the skins of creatures that are your superiors, I don't believe you would know anything about the nature of goodness. He looks back at Riot and says, I believe you would know something, but that it would be misguided. And then he sheathes his blade, and he says, I've decided not to kill you.
Well, that's nice of you.
Thank you. Now, is there any way I can convince you to leave this place?
He says that you've brought him pretty half-truths.
So just so you know, Brick, like I did cast Glibness before this. He can't magically know that I was ever
That you were ever what?
lying.
When did you cast Glibness?
I whistled
Before
over
we
the
open
moon.
the door.
Before we
Yep.
open the door, cast a spell.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know you cast it.
Okay,
Don't
I'll be
feel
more
bad,
clear
I
about
didn't know
that.
either.
I'll be more clear about that. But I had cast Glibness.
No, I
Okay.
caught that.
I caught it too.
Yeah, but the DM's the one's got to catch it. Let's
Yeah.
see. No matter what you say, magic that would determine if you're telling the truth indicates that you are being truthful. Okay. He says that Edwina has informed him of visitors and that she made a polite request to let them plead their case. He notes, however, that she's also said that they've not yet spoken to the keeper, to the permission giver.
That's true.
He asks why you've come to this place.
To free a man we know named Terran, and upon asking Terran about what he knew about it, to free you too, and Edwina if she wants to go. But after speaking to her, I don't think that that's likely.
He says he knows very little about this Terran, except that he possessed in him a core of evil that Locke was able to manipulate. He says it's similar to the core of evil that lives inside of Edwina that she denies. And he looks at Nath and says, "And the core of evil that you hold too, my friend."
Have you looked inside yourself lately?
What?
Is Kelian vocalizing that out loud?
Yeah. A little bit.
Nath is like the most stand-up guy any of us know, pretty much.
I'm shocked he doesn't have issues with me.
You say that out loud?
Over the mind link, Nath will just say, remember, Riot's the only one who can talk.
So everybody's come in the room. At this point, everybody's been talking except for Nath. He follows orders well. The Archon begs your forgiveness. He says, "I did not mean to give offense, but it is known that mortal creatures possess in them a darkness that causes them to go up against many trials. And at the time of their death, these trials culminate, and it is determined whether or not they are found wanting.
What about immortal creatures?
He says that our trials are of a much more difficult and a much longer nature, particularly for him as an Archon, because the trials manifest in a physical sense, physically climbing the mountain of Celestia, of which he has seen 4 of the lights before given his task to protect the show family. He made it as high as Daniel did, basically.
Yeah.
And you guys took a shortcut.
I have to remind you that that's where you belong, on Mount Celestia, not here.
He says that you're not qualified to determine where he belongs, that you have no authority, that's not your assessment to make. He does, however, appreciate that you speak from a place of sincerity. Your naivety is not your fault.
Mm. I'm glad Daniel was wrong about you in one sense. Daniel told us that probably it would be impossible to convince you of anything. He thought you were too far corrupted for us to talk any sense into you, and I'm glad that wasn't true.
And again, he doesn't know who Daniel is. He doesn't know who you're talking about. So he's not sure if you're complimenting him or
His
paying a
he's
backhanded
going
insult.
by he's
It was kind of a backhanded compliment.
Okay.
he's been going by another name as of late.
Oh,
Cornu.
Cornu. That's right, Cornu.
What, just because we're all Celestials, we all know each other? Is that it?
Yeah.
Well, he lives on your level.
It's a big plane, man. He says that his station in this place means he has to deal with many creatures like yourselves who are fond of playing games. And even if they're not, Locke forces them to. He's a devil. It's in his nature. He can no sooner deny himself the creation of these games than Matsu Henshin himself could deny his servitude.
If we go see the Keeper and get his permission, will you give us the names of beyond here?
He says that it's his belief that you're currently playing a game that Locke has designed.
We're sure that we are.
Yeah.
He says the Keeper is a creature that kills indiscriminately, unless Locke has told it not to. I would be very careful if I were you in this place. I would be very careful to be wary of the things you are told. There are not many creatures on Beator that speak the truth, and those that do often have it twisted.
So what to my question then? If we come back with the Keeper's permission?
He says if you come back with the Keeper's permission, he is honor-bound to give you whatever the Keeper promised.
All right. Then we should probably go see the Keeper.
Ask if there's a way to open the door without, mucking around with thieves' tools. Feels silly to leave that way.
Yeah. Is there a way to go through these doors without... Is there an easier way than what we've been doing?
Ooh, 1 second, because that's an excellent question that has a real answer. He says that he believes that Ulthor has a key to these doors. However, Ulthor's chamber is actually, I think he's marked on your map.
Yeah, he's to the southeast of us right now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at this point in time, he cannot let you guys pass that way.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to cross his sword in order to walk through that hall.
Then our next stop is the Keeper. Kelian, do you want to unlock the door?
It's a gigantic success.
Look at that roll.
21 to open it with the hand.
So you guys are going to sit here and pick a lock right in front of this lawful good Archon watching you the whole time.
Yep.
We asked him.
I asked. Or I told Riot to ask.
And you do get the door open. And as you leave the room, Matsu Henshin places his blade back on the ground and kneels back down next to it. He says he awaits your return.
I do too.
Mm-hmm. Kelian, wait till the door closes.
So
Wait,
everybody's
really?
leaving?
Yeah, I'm leaving.
There.
Okay.
Fucking goddamn Mount Celestius type. Fucking stupid mother. Righteous. Fucking
Mahogany.
god shit.
I'm sorry I had to do that. I just didn't want it to come to blows.
You
with
didn't
that
have
guy.
to do it. It wasn't going to come to
Kelian.
blades. You accomplished nothing.
Kelian, do you want a hug?
Don't touch me.
Give me a hug. Come on. Give me a hug,
Don't.
Kelian.
Stop it. Stop it.
Might be
She's very
arcane magic.
sad.
He might have some sort of belief that mortals that learn arcane magic are inherently corrupting themselves in the search for power.
He did only finger you as having a core of evil, as he put
Yep.
it.
Yeah, Nath is just sort of half, talking to anyone who will listen. which might be no one in this group.
It's probably just Mahogany.
Mahogany's the only non-good character at this point. I see. Okay, in my original notes for the outline of this adventure, I had a whole thing with Kelian, but he's good now. So
He's good. He's goodish.
he's good-ish.
Good-ish.
He's allegedly
He's
good.
on the spectrum.
He's on the good spectrum.
So I guess we
And
gotta...
if it matters, I'm spending my my bonus action after every time I move to keep the hand moving next to me.
So you're keeping Big B's hand out. Is that a concentration spell?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes.
Okay. You're gonna pop this door again.
Is it 10 minutes or is it 1 minute?
That is in... Yeah.
Oh no, it's only 1 minute. It's gone. My bad.
Okay, so who's gonna pry this door open now that after Kelian pops it? You got a 15 on that roll, right, Kelian?
18.
18. Okay, so yeah, we just need a strength check.
Put a
Riot.
guidance on Riot.
Okay. You know.
I think it's actually higher than that, but...
The eyeballs disappear out of the cherub.
Thumb turgid open. This looks better. This looks like a... That's pretty good. Yeah, I'd call that a success.
Okay. And you manage to wrench the door open as you did before. The room beyond looks exactly the same as when you left it. Only this time you do not see the magical darkness in the archway.
Okay.
That's because What's-Her-Face got rid of the darkness for us.
Yeah. Did she do that for all of our party? Trying to
She had
remember.
touched everybody, yeah. She did Kelian
Okay.
last.
Okay. Then I guess go around. I keep waiting for Bigfoot to say stop. You see a bunch of method man.
So, she didn't make me drop my spell component pouch, just my staff, right?
Oh, that's right. We have to drop all our
Yeah,
stuff
we have
here.
to leave our
Well, as
weapons.
Riot comes around the corner, as she was in the lead, you hear the sing-song voice in the room beyond. Welcome back, my lovelies. And when she actually turns and sees it's Riot, she says, "Oh."
Am I not? Come on.
I think you're very fetching, Ryan.
Riot like gesture says, "Look at this."
And she just shakes her head wistfully. Does anybody attempt to approach still holding their weapons?
No, I'm gonna
No.
doff my weapons
No.
here.
We're gonna
Can
leave
I
one
take-
person back here to keep an eye on them.
Can I take
Yeah, I'll
Terran's
keep an
sword?
eye.
Or is she insistent that I drop Terran's too?
I feel like Zook maybe should do it because Zook's still at 5 HP.
No, I'm good with doing it.
Okay.
So the question about Terran's sword, if you bring it into the room, you can see her watching it as you're carrying it. But she doesn't say anything about setting it down. I mean, she definitely has some attraction to this blade. She's definitely has a great interest in it.
So when was the last time you talked to Terran?
Make an insight check. Right, are you just walking through the room?
Pretty much.
Heading through? Okay. Let's resolve this with Nath
Insight
first, and then we'll get
Yeah.
20.
a 20. Her answer is that she and Terran speak all of the time. However, reading her demeanor, and it's difficult because you can only see the upper part of her face. She's wearing this veil over her nose and her mouth that hangs down over her neck. You get the sense that she doesn't have a very good perception of time in this place either. She hasn't spoken to him recently because, as you know, he wasn't here, quote-unquote, recently. And she's not able to give you an exact answer on when it was. So it could have been a few days ago before you arrived. It could have been many years ago. But she
Was
doesn't
there
want you
anything
to know that she doesn't know that.
Is there anything specific that you were speaking of the last time you talked?
She looks over everybody in the group. And this is as Riot's walking past her. And she takes that opportunity to ignore the question. You get, Nath, again, you get the sense this is an uncomfortable question for her. And Riot's giving her the perfect excuse to not answer it. And so she turns to Riot and says, "And so you're off to speak with the Keeper then, are you?"
That's next on the hit list. We had a nice conversation with Matsu Henshin, by the way.
She says, "Yes, I did ask him very nicely not to murder you immediately.
And we thank you for it.
Dealing with his
didn't
type,
make-
you have to use the word murder, darling. He takes it very personally."
We didn't make any bet on that, did we? there was no wager on how many words. It was 10 words you said we couldn't do?
She asks who is going to speak with the Keeper.
Oh, that's right. Only one person can go. I've
She's-
still got Glibness up.
She said she would allow 2, but she can't in good conscience let everybody go.
I'll go with her.
Okay?
Cool.
And she strides over towards Kelian and says this will give her the perfect opportunity to get to know this charming young man all the better.
Yeah, I'm not interested anymore.
Wow.
And as we're walking down the path over the Mind Lake, I'll ask, disintegrate or dimension door if things go south?
Disintegrate.
Yep, I agree.
On the silver door, on the south, the name of the room simply read the Permission Giver.
Okay. Since Kelian's left behind, Riot just shrugs and casts Knock.
Just on this one door, you're not casting your power word knock?
Nah.
You get a lot of work done with power word knock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to say this out loud, because if I don't say this out loud, I'm going to screw it up. And I already locked myself out of my house once today, so I'm already kind of a big screw up as it is. So I'm going to save this map in the correct spot. Right here.
Then we get to load a new map, huh?
And how long does knock keep the door open? I always forget. Is it like a minute or something?
It suppresses the... Go. Did I just unlock it? DDB? Hang on, I have to look it up now.
I'm going to get our stuff back in here.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
That's if it's... Well, no, it suppresses Arcane Lock for... all it says is that the target is held by a mundane lock. The stuck card or bar becomes unlocked, unstuck, or unbarred.
Okay, so in this case, the door would fly open, but unless
Yeah.
somebody's specifically keeping it open, it would immediately slam back shut.
Right.
Okay.
What is... Does Riot have anything on her that would keep it... Trying to see if I have any climbing pit and style items. Nothing good looking. Yeah, I don't think I have anything. Do you have anything, Nath?
I mean, no, not realistically. Nothing
Okay.
useful.
So you're going to let the door close behind you?
You kind of have to, yeah.
Splitting the party. I love it. Stepping into this chamber, the door closing behind you. Is anybody, before we get into this, this will be our last scene for the night, I think. Is anybody doing anything back with Edwina in her room?
No, I'm just guarding the stuff.
Nath, what was the question you asked her that you didn't get an answer to?
What if she'd said it? Basically, I asked her what the last conversation she had with Terran was.
Terran was. Okay.
Are you going to pick at
Not
that
in as
thread?
many words.
Yeah, I'll pick at that thread. Because while she may enjoy this pile of meat, she clearly has interest in Terran.
Make an insight check.
I'm good at those.
Good. You guys stepping into this room. There's 2 levels to this room. The bottom level, that you guys walk into, this 40-foot wide... Oh, I guess I'll shrink you guys down next week when everybody else is here, too. Actually, no, I'll just do it now, otherwise I'll forget, I think. Highlight everybody. Shrink, 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 shrink. There we go. Okay. They're so tiny. The bottom floor of the room looks pretty much the same as every room you've been into. The marble floors, the walls, the whole deal. The celestial engravings. And again, the torches that give off a warm glow. Far at the end of the room, you see a golden door. Here. Very high vaulted ceilings, higher than most of the other rooms you've come into, probably 40 or 50 feet up. And about halfway up that distance, you see a huge landing in the center of the room. This big brown blocky deal. And it's hard to tell what's on the landing. And the only, I mean, your guys' only point of reference for it would have been the kind of nasty stuff you saw in Gerzog's tower. That giant pillar of just disgusting flesh at the end. It's kind of what this reminds you of. Just this giant ball of pulsating flesh piled up on this landing. Dangling from some of the sides are kind of fleshy protrusions, at the ends of which you see not hands per se, but digits that could manipulate objects or move things. Some of them are eye stalks with blinking eyes at the end. And when you step into the room and the door closes behind you, several of these eye stalks spin very quickly in your direction.
The keeper?
And then you hear the voice, both of you, speaking into your mind. And it says, I am Locke's keeper. I have been told of your coming. I have been told you were sent here to banish the nightmares.
That sounds like a kind of thing we do. I still have I still have Glimness Spot. It's an hour-long spell.
Yep. Okay.
Is that a problem you're having? Nightmares?
He says he doesn't mean in the sense of dreams. He means in the sense of tangible nightmares.
Mm.
Have you walked long on the lower plains?
I spent time here than I'd like.
Then you've seen many nightmares. You've seen they live, that they breathe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Some are kept in this place. And you have come to rid us of them.
As many as we can, yes.
He says, this makes me very happy. This brings me great joy to hear this. Kelian, how'd you do on that insight check?
28.
28. If you want to get any real information out of her, you're going to have to play along. You're going to have to get real flirtatious.
Okay.
And since you're not into it, that's going to mean that's going to mean deception on your part.
Okay.
And
What's your flaw again, Keelan?
Whoa! When did we determine he wasn't into it?
Kelian made it pretty clear that he's not into it.
It's alright. I'm even better at deception than I am in insight. So
Okay. I think his exact words was, "Yeah, I'm not into it anymore."
pretty much.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Say that.
So if that's the course you want to go down, go ahead and make charisma deception.
All right.
And what's Liberation doing during this time in the room?
Liberation's probably going to go back and hang out with Mahogany because
Go back and guard the gear. Leave
Yeah.
Kelian. Well, I guess Zook's in there as well. Was that an I rolled really low roll or an I rolled really high roll?
Hi.
So
Make
you're like
it till you make it,
Radians.
Kelian.
That is
Okay.
35. 35.
on your
Kelian's really good when it actually matters for Kelian.
on your seduction check.
On the other hand, I'd say Kelian's really good at faking interest in seduction. It's not so much matters for Kelian, he's just a really good man whore.
Yep.
That's why I was laughing.
Didn't the opposite happen to McDohl's character in that Apocalypse World game? Like,
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
like,
No, that wasn't his character. No, yeah, it was. Yeah, he was a mechanic, and he kept trying to. He rolled so badly on his sleep to the other checks. He ended up in Octa like everybody.
either you have her believing that you're really into it and that you're just eating out of the palm of her hands, or she sees through it and is playing along with it because it amuses her to do so. But she starts discussing with you in her own flirtatious way, in kind of like a math turns me on kind of way. She starts discussing with you the kinds of things she and Taryn talk about. And you are just equal parts confused and horrified. I mean, you're getting descriptions of things beyond the veil of reality, and she's talking about it as though it's just like a pleasant conversation. She's talking about aspects of reality that you've never even considered, and you're pretty sure you're going to have a hard time sleeping when you finally make it back to Sigil.
If I make it back to Sigil.
What this tells you, though, because I mean, you spent enough time with Zook, especially, but also with the other members of this group. Pretty much nobody knew what Taryn was talking about when he got on his tangents. He had, like, everybody else was convinced he's crazy, but talking with this woman now, she's definitely on his wavelength. And now you're starting to wonder, is there something to all of that madness that these warlocks believe they can see beyond this veil? Is there another world? Is there this great unknowable beyond on the other side of the multiverse? So your reaction to that is existential horror? I don't know. I'll let you decide.
I was going to say, is this the part where Kelian gets a level in Warlock now? Because that'd be amazing.
Sword would be really good for you then.
And you guys in the room.
Mm-hmm.
As you're standing where you're standing, you start becoming aware of tendrils of this fleshy creature, and he's sending them out along the walls, snaking towards you. You can't really see the door here, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of
It's
up where we are.
It's here-ish. That's my bad. Sorry about that. But yeah, he says that knowing that you've come to dispense of the nightmares brings it great joy.
Do these tendrils look anything like the things we saw in the crypt room?
Possibly underneath, but there's a layer of actual skin over them.
Okay.
They're like human tentacles, basically.
We've come to ask your permission to have the run of the place, so we can do our work.
What do you mean by the run of the place?
Permission to go where we please, see where we please, investigate what we... ferret out nightmares.
He says that it is... I guess I'm saying it. I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's genitals up there somewhere, but on a creature like this, it's probably not actually indicative of its gender identity. It responds that it has no doubt that you are capable of dispensing of the nightmares in this place.
Mm-hmm.
But it is that very strength that shall determine where you'll be able to investigate safely. He said that even if it were to grant permission for you to go into doors and investigate rooms at your leisure, it could still not guarantee safety.
We understand.
He says that while it is in its ability to grant permission to enter various areas of the keep, it does not directly control any of the denizens. It cannot call off the Hollow Men, and it cannot be held accountable for the actions of some of Locke's other underlings.
Of course. But we've spoken with two of Locke's guardians, Edwina and Matsuhenshin, and both of them said that we would need your permission in order to pass, non-violently. And since we have no wish to harm any of the good people who live here, we came seeking your permission.
When you say non-violently, some of the skin tendrils that were climbing along the wall towards you suddenly stop and kind of slither back a few inches. And it says, and you feel kind of a fearful tinge to it, and it says, violence is the last thing that I would want. I am powerless to stand against your blades and your spells.
And we are not here to use either of them. In fact, we've left all of our blades and our spells behind.
It says, you, Githzerai, you're a man of great magic, yes?
Nath nods.
It says, in the place beyond this room where I sit are many nightmares. Many places where mortal minds are destroyed at the sight. If you can quell but one of them, you and your companions, I will give you the permission you seek, for you will have proven the strength of your conviction. Is this agreeable?
And can I see the other side of the room?
Yes, very plainly. There are torch sconces beyond here. The whole room
Okay.
is very well lit. You don't have a really good sight at the platform that it's resting on, other than just
Okay.
a lump of flesh.
I would need the name of the room beyond to open the door, but other than that, sounds agreeable.
It says that its master... actually, I think it has a pet name for Locke. Did I give it a pet name for Locke? This is 39. I did not. Okay. It says that his master enjoys constructing games and enjoys spinning many webs. He entrusts some of his servants with the name of some of his rooms, but none of his servants with the names of all of his rooms. And while he has empowered it to give permission to the likes of you to pass through doors, to speak with the denizens of this place, to conduct investigations, and even, in some circumstances, to give rewards, Locke has entrusted it with the names of none of the rooms.
Then how will we proceed into the room beyond you to test our strength against the nightmare?
He says, the door leading to the next chamber. The room name is known by the Sunrise Guardian, by the New Warlock, by the
New
Angel
Warlock.
Priest, and by the Man in the Forge.
Does Edwina know the name?
New Warlock might be Terran. I'll ask over the mind link. Hey, Terran,
No.
know the name of this room?
No, it's not Terran.
I'm sorry, yes, both Guardians know the name. He mentions
Okay,
Sunrise and Sunset.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
No, he's probably talking about Discordance. Right, so
Oh, right.
then we will be right back to ask Edwina the name of the room beyond.
Okay.
Maybe you better do Nath. I think she kind of hates me.
I'll just ask over the mind link because I've already traded her my secret.
Oh yeah, true.
So yeah, I'll summarize. The Keeper wants me to enter the room, maybe us, not sure, to enter the next room and destroy a nightmare there to prove our worth. Edwina has the name, the Keeper does not.
And you're sending that information to Edwina?
She's not in Mind Link. I'm sending it to the rest of the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the rest of the party.
So Kelian, while she's regaling you with stories, kind of wistfully reminiscing about the kinds of things she and Taryn used to talk about, you hear that over the mind link.
I guess I'm the only one who's going to get a secret this time.
What do you tell her?
Oh, fuck it. Kelian asks what the name... She could tell him what the name of the room is beyond the Keeper.
She says she cannot because you have not shared a secret that nobody else knows. And she smiles sexily beneath her veil. Man, look at this little penis that I didn't erase properly. That's nice looking, isn't it? Just kind of poking out there like the goddamn dungeon has an erection. What is that? It's disturbing.
That's fine.
It's okay. It's all right.
No one else was thinking that until you brought it up.
No, literally no one.
I just see penises everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm the gay one. What the hell?
You don't have to be gay to appreciate a good penis.
Kelian's going to come up with some fake secret.
A fake secret.
Yeah.
A secret.
A secret.
Need a deception check at disadvantage.
Oh, tits.
You better roll real well.
More like a faux crit.
Well,
I mean, you got to roll pretty good. Not as good as I was expecting, but yeah, pretty good.
Can you roll less than a 10?
that is a 24.
24. She declares
26. Sorry, 26.
26.
Yeah. It's a plus 16, not plus 14.
You still got lucky tokens.
So,
No, it's alright. If he fails this, we'll see where this goes.
you actually tied the skill challenge. I don't know what happens when you tie an opposed skill check in 5th edition, because it's never happened before that I can remember.
That's a difficulty class, right? So we achieved it? Like the...
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
guess
true.
so. I guess that's one way of looking at it. For a long time, you're not sure whether she believes you.
What do you say? What is the secret you make up?
Give me a minute. I'll think of something.
But we don't really have a minute because it's 6:58.
Yeah.
So she buys it, but she buys it in a way that you're pretty sure she saw through it and is just choosing to placate you anyway. Like she's playing with your strings. She tells you that the name of the room beyond this door is 3 points of light.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And Kelian will say that over the mind link. Yeah, I do want to come up with a fun line now.
We can do that at the start of the next session. Here's
Yeah.
where we've left it. Feels good to be able to just play right up till 7 o'clock. I don't have to try to break it off at 6:40. You guys have been tasked with going through this door and dispelling one of the nightmares beyond, of which there are many. Having been given the permission to go through there, Edwina cannot stop you from taking your gear and your entire party in there. You're not going to have to just go in the two of you. Once you complete that task, the Keeper may be able to expand your permissions in this place. And there's another one over on this side. My goodness. It's indecent.
It's fine.
And I've already
give you
saved this
permission.
map correctly.
Have
You give me permission to penis?
To penis, yeah. Any penis you want.
Right. So we're not doing straw pulls anymore because there's no more experience to give out in this campaign. Everybody has reached the highest level they're going to reach. How many onions does she use in this conversation? Onions was a metaphor that Taryn used to use to kind of tell the normies what's going on in the multiverse in ways they could understand. Edwina doesn't deal in metaphors. She just likes to completely destroy minds by telling it straight. And congratulations on not attacking the promise or the permission giver.
We're not going to do a stroll poll this week, but we all know who's your favorite. Wait, shit, this is audio. That's not going to play. We all know who's your favorite. Wink.
I mean, my favorite was Rowan Darkwood, and we saw what you guys did to him.
I like your favorite.
He did that to himself.
He did that to himself.
Deserves everything that happened to him.
I still hold you
Because that
responsible.
is happening. And still happening.
It was all his
Will
machinations.
have happened yet, but will it have happened yesterday?
That's what happens with a 2,000-year time loop. You guys made pretty decent progress in a lot of this dungeon so far.
I feel like it might take 2 more sessions. Though.
There's another shoe that has to drop.
There's always 2 more sessions.
There's always 2 more, yeah. And there's quite a lot more combat still to go.
Yeah, the other shoe's gonna drop.
Combat with stuff other than nothing.
other than between each other.
I mean, you got to, you know, get the salty run back from the Bodak. That was
We did.
the way that was supposed to play out. Is someone was supposed to like try to get in there and open the coffin, and then be stuck standing there in front of the Bodak because the thing would have grabbed their feet.
We didn't do that.
There is a monster. I'm gonna say this, and I want you guys to see if you can figure out which monster it is after you fight your way through some more of the dungeon that I created, like in 9th grade or something stupid, just as, like a joke, like just a fun thing. Because then the 2nd edition monster manual, the very last page, just a blank page with like a blank box and just a bunch of lines so you can make. And we photocopied like hundreds of these. We made little monsters and stuff. We never used them, and I made one, and it was such a dumb idea for a monster. But I always told myself, if I have a place to ever use this monster in a game that isn't just completely ridiculous, I'm gonna do it. And I had the perfect place to use one in this dungeon, and I'm so excited.